When we signed to Neil Young's record label, there was a lot of comparisons made between the fact that he was Canadian and we were Canadian, and we were the first Canadian act he'd signed. So it felt like years before it was cool to be Canadian, we were down in the US being that Canadian band, and everyone, oh, you're from Canada, eh? And all the jokes, and we put up with it for years. When it wasn't cool, it didn't mean it was uncool to be Canadian, but when it wasn't every cool band coming out was from Canada. And all of a sudden, at the end of If It Was You and the beginning of So Jealous, our last two records, all of a sudden there was Feist and Broken Social Scene, The Stars and the Deers, and a zillion things happening, and then Arcade Fire, and it was just all of a sudden it was you're Canadian, right?
People won't straight out say the T word, they won't be are you telepathic? But they'll be if you're thinking about one thing and then she's thinking about the same thing, do you know that you're talking about
telepathy?
Yeah, and I'm no, you jerk, we don't know. But when I'm around other twins, I'm are you reading my mind? I hate twins so much.
They are terrifying to
They're
talk
so
to.
scary.
Especially when they look
and when they're looking at you, they're both looking at you at the same time, I just am oh, we're gross. That's why we really live 3,000 miles apart. I was just I'm never going to find my life partner if I don't get away from Tegan, because if they meet me and then she's there and then their beady little eyes are staring at them, they're going to be terrified of us.
First thing we tell everybody new to the organization, if they haven't been on a tour bus before, is bring your own pillow and bedding, because bands are gross and you are sleeping in a bunk where hundreds of boys mainly have slept before you.
Usually crew people.
Yeah, a lot of crew, but they're working hard, they're sweating, they're working 18-hour days, and then they literally, even our crew sleeps in their clothes. The band, the five of us though, are super high maintenance. We put pajamas on and wash our faces together and brush our teeth in the venue, and when we get into bed, we're clean again. And so it's comfort item, bring your own bedding.
It's basically staying in a dirty motel.
BYOB.
We like to document everything that we do, not just in audio form, but in video form. And that was a suggestion to us back in the day when we first signed a record deal when we were 18. The head of the label is also Neil Young's manager, and they have documented everything that he's done essentially from the 70s. They basically said take a lot of photos, videotape yourselves as much as possible, and record everything. Somebody will care at some point in the future, even if it's just your kids. You should make sure that you just have everything on record. So we always try to keep things, videotape things, and put together little videos and extra special content so that people on the internet can get to know us better. We really feel we
went to the doctor once together, and Sara showed him these white spots and was what are these? And he's oh, everyone has them. See, I have them right here. And sometimes I think that's the benefit to having a twin that's codependent and in a band with you. When something's wrong with her, generally, I'll use that as a reference point. She's okay, then I'm probably okay. So I figure anything goes wrong with me at some point, it'll go wrong with her too. But that's because we're twins. We're nerds. And the DVD, really, there should be a sticker that says, these guys come off they're really emotional and dramatic and deep and philosophical, and they're asking a lot of questions about things and stuff like that, but really they're just nerds. There's a portion of the DVD where Sara puts, we call it duct tape dreads, and Sara puts all this tape in her hair. Why? I mean, there's so many. She put in 2 or 3 pieces, and she's look guys, look at my dreads, and then everyone was you idiot, you just put duct tape in your hair, and they have to pull it out, and it's all on camera. That's why we really, that's true. The true answer for why we film ourselves is because Sara does stupid things all the time, and the whole band and crew basically exists in one place, and Sara and I are separate from everyone, so it feels we've always had a little bit of this forced exile when we get off the road. You become a family, and you kind of become codependent, and we're already codependent people when you are, I don't know if it's a twin thing or an identical girl twin thing or what it is, but I've always had a partner. Sara's always been, that person for me, and so the sort of physical distance is actually really nice sometimes when you get off the road. It's you're home and you have your own new circle of people that you have to put energy into, and it's great for inspiration, to have this whole other world that you get to come back to the, band family and talk about what you've been up to. Fisher-Price cassette recorder thing, and when we were little, 3, 4 years old, we got super addicted. We didn't listen to tapes on it. That's what I think the whole thing was that you listen to tapes and you sing along. It was pre-karaoke machine. We just actually used to the record function, so we would record ourselves reading books, telling stories, talking to our parents, that sort of thing, and we became really addicted to the sound of our voices. We didn't have a video camera. What Sara's trying not to say is we were really poor and we didn't own a video camera.
But my uncle did, and there's some really embarrassing footage of us in karate when we were 8, and
really
so we didn't. Yeah, it's probably a good thing. We're a lot cuter in audio form than we were in physical form. There's no question that there are wonderful, amazing things about Vancouver. I lived in Vancouver for years, and it's beautiful, and it's amazing food, amazing people. It truly is an amazing city. It is so boring, and I think that unless you're old and you have a walker, there's not much of a social life. But Montreal is like, I think it's a way cooler city. I think Tegan would admit it's cooler. If it wasn't for me, Tegan would be wearing a polar fleece jacket and have dreads and Birkenstocks on right now. So, thank God one of us is living. We're only 26 years old, we've already put out 5 albums, which it seems like a long time, and it doesn't actually seem like that many albums, but, you know, at this rate, if I live to be 100, I mean, we're gonna put out like tens of thousands of records, and I just feel like at some point there's gonna be some sort of spin-off. I don't know if it'll be in a direct solo project or if it'll be some sort of other project that Tegan and I, maybe we collaborate with other people, maybe we individually collaborate with other people. I'm not totally sure, and I don't necessarily think it's gonna be music that's what you know, we sort of like run off to do as a side project. We could end up doing other things. I think, you know, you want to exercise the other parts of your brain, and music for us has been